Because the fight against gender-based violence continues to gain momentum in the country as women and some men held protests to denounce the act and submit their demands to the authorities. The anti-gender-based violence movement is the latest group to get to the street to vent their anger and frustrations as the trend remains unchanged. The country's president had promised to support an emergency response plan to eradicate violence against women. Here's more details of that in this report.
Gender-based violence here in South Africa just continues to escalate. In fact, it dramatically increased after government announced the national state of disaster to fight the coronavirus pandemic.
Call them out. I'm not going to be grateful for you for doing the right thing. Call them out. So we're here together.
Protest marches against gender-based violence have now become a familiar sight here in South Africa. Frustrated women and some men often take to the streets to voice their concerns and list their demands from government.
What do we want? Justice! What do you want it?
This time, the anti-gender-based violence movement staged a peaceful protest at the Union Buildings, South Africa's government seat. They say they're here to show solidarity with victims of gender-based violence, to also show their exasperation and anger with the lack of change in the situation.
These violent, dehumanizing acts carried out by men have scared our nation and have instilled fear in the hearts and lives of many of us. We do not want to hear about another life being taken by man. We do not want to hear about a brutal, violent act committed by a man. The promises of change we hear time and time again have not taken place. Today we remind you again, enough is enough.
These young protesters, mainly from universities, came with a list of demands.
We demand an immediate report from all levels of government detailing what it has genuinely done to combat gender-based violence. We demand frequent meetings with government officials and stakeholders on women and queer empowerment in the community. We demand bail to be removed as a possibility for all those charged with and those with a history of sexual offences.
Other demands include that police be given a thorough gender-based violence sensitivity training. Their list of demands was handed over to a government representative from the South African presidency. Earlier, President Cyril Ramaphosa announced that 1.6 billion rand would be allocated to an emergency response plan that will focus on eradicating gender-based violence.
Our cries are still unheard. More women are dying. Money has been put into place to stop gender-based violence, but we're still seeing more women dying, more children dying at the hands of men.
For how long is it just going to be women standing in this fight? We are not going to be silent no more.
On Monday, ministers who form part of the security cluster will address issues relating to the capacity of the criminal justice system to combat this scourge.